Another witness tried to talk to him, and he said the guy growled at me, so I ran in the house and locked the door. Our deputies immediately arrived. As they were arriving, he was walking from the lake between the houses, and he had a set of garden shears with him. He had gone to a truck and was throwing a brick trying to break into a vehicle. A lady, our third witness, who is in the cul-de-sac walking her dog, said he immediately charged the deputies holding the shears. She said they waited too long to shoot, but our deputies tried to de-escalate. We also tried to tase him on 2 different occasions, and he continued to charge at them. The deputies backed up, telling him to throw the shears down, and even though he committed an aggravated assault and an attempted burglary, they were still trying to take him peacefully into custody. He climbed into the passenger side of the patrol vehicle, which was still running because they had jumped from the vehicle to run to him while he committed the burglary. And as he jumped into the seat, he was trying to either get the rifle or the shotgun out of its holder. At that time, our deputies shot. They shot multiple times. And as a result, Timothy is deceased. This is under investigation with our task force, our multi-agency task force. The results will be turned over to our state attorney, Brian Haas, for a final determination. However, it's important to focus on this for a second. He tried to assault my deputies with shears. Then he jumped into their vehicle, which is an armed burglary with the shears, trying to get the rifle and or the shotgun out. At that moment in time, all the warnings had to stop and the action had to begin. And that's when they shot him, enough to stop the threat. Are there any questions? Yeah, thank you for asking. His criminal history is long. It's meth arrest, meth arrest, meth arrest, meth arrest, meth arrest. And guess what? In April of this year, he was arrested for what? Meth. He was released on May the 20th. So he's not been out of jail very long at all. I've said this over and over, and I'll continue to say it. There are still people that want to make the community or the nation believe that drugs are low level and nonviolent. Well, here's your sign. Here's another sign. Now, that's not enough. While he's swimming across the lake, and how he made it across the lake, they said he was treading water. They could only see his head. He got real close to an alligator. It appears that his right arm is bitten by an alligator. So apparently he was attacked by an alligator while in the lake as well. So he gets into the lake, he swims across the lake, he's bitten by an alligator. Neighbors are trying to throw him a life vest, trying to help him. He's growling. He comes onto the land, sees a pair of garden shears, picks them up. That's when our deputies are getting there just as he's trying to break into one of our victims' vehicles. We try to de-escalate. We tase him twice. We tell him to drop the shears, to no effect. The tasers had no effect on him. He climbed into a vehicle, committing another armed burglary where he was trying to get to our rifle and our shotgun, and we shot him. Now, quite frankly, his conduct was outrageous. It was bizarre. And his conduct, in order to get him into custody, was necessary by our deputies because of his conduct. He was bizarre. Our deputies, by the way, are going home safe tonight. Let me make this abundantly clear. You're not going to shoot at our deputies. You're not going to point guns at our deputies. You're not going to point garden shears at our deputies. You're not going to break into the car and try to get their rifles. You're not going to assault feloniously our deputies. You're just not going to do that. And if you do, we're going to shoot you. Just enough so that you don't want to ever do that again, or can't do that ever again. The lake is directly behind the houses. You can see it from an aerial view. This area at one time was a mine area, and there's huge lakes that wrap around these different beautiful houses and subdivisions here. And if you look, he swam a long way across this lake. And the fact that he was bitten by an alligator significantly and still continued his rampage is shocking. But if you're on enough meth, then the person you see is not the person that's attacking. Excuse me? They were at one of the houses when he came out of the water. Apparently someone had left their garden shears in the yard, on the porch. And that's still under investigation. However, one of the victims, one of the witnesses, said that he left his garden shears out. Yeah, he swam across the lake from Highway 37. And that's amazing in and of itself. It's a long swim. And he was gator bitten along the way. Now this is just crazy stuff, okay? You know that's got to be true. You can't make it up. And as a result, this is one more example of how violent people are when they use meth and use drugs. When you can swim across a lake, sustained apparent alligator bites, grab shears, try to break into a vehicle, attack law enforcement officers, jump into their car, try to get their rifle and shotgun, you're out of your mind on drugs. And it's not his first time. He's dead. Deader than 4 o'clock. I don't know if this is a suicide by cop or it's suicide by being absolutely out of your mind on methamphetamine. But he showed no fear of 2 deputies. He showed no interest in complying. Even after he was tased, he still ran. And one of our witnesses said, I don't know why the deputies waited so long before they shot. The shot was just after they arrived, within just a short period of time. As they were arriving, he was trying to break into the vehicle. So as they were arriving, they see this lady in the cul-de-sac. As they get out, she points back behind him and says, there he is there. He was hidden by the truck. And that's when they ran to him to try to take him into custody. Yeah, the deputies will be on normal administrative leave through the initial phases of the investigation, and then they will return to work just as soon as we complete the initial phases of the investigation. There's a mandatory evaluation and a debriefing with our psych team as a result of them having to be involved in a life and death situation. One of the 2 is still in training, and the trainer did exactly what he should have, and so did our brand new deputy. He responded appropriately. Both of them shot. Anything else? Thank you very much.